The Muslims turned this into a mosque in the late 1990s. The mosque holds 10,000 people. Here's the building once it was cleaned out. In order to get 10,000 people in and out of the room, they realized that they needed to have a really nice staircase going down in there because it was the stairways that were going down in there were not adequate. So in order to do that, they decided to simply dig a big hole, approach the building from the north side in order to access some ancient doorways that went in here. At one time, these archways were open. Later on, they got blocked up. Then they got filled in with dirt. So now they cleared it all out and they unblocked the doorways. Now they have two very nice doors. Well, this is all well, fine and good. Very nice mosque, nice doorways going in it. But the problem was how the work was done. In doing this work, they just brought in trucks and bulldozers, and in 2 days they plowed out 400 truckloads of dirt and dumped it in the Kidron Valley. Now, this material was not surveyed by an archaeologist. Nobody knew what was in it. Once the material landed here in the dump, a couple of young archaeology students heard about what was going on. So they followed the trucks to see where they're going, landed in the dump, they started looking through the materials and realized it was full of artifacts. So they asked the Antiquities Authority if they could have this material. Eventually we got it. It was brought up here to the site in 2004. The place where the dump is in the Kidron Valley, which is this valley here. It's about a half a mile or 1 kilometer downstream that way. The material was brought here, and as we started going through it, we found really, really neat stuff in here, all kinds of artifacts. So I'm going to show you now different kinds of things that we have found here. That's a general picture. We'll see that one. This one. And this one. Now, in ancient times of war, wars were being fought with bows and arrows and with spears, so we find the arrowheads. Here is an arrowhead from the time of the Babylonians, from the time of the destruction of the temple in 586 BCE. This is a small arrowhead about like this. There's 3 blades on it like that. We've got it cleaned up. It looks like it is brand new. Here's another arrowhead, another bronze one. This is about 2,300 years old. This is from the time of the Maccabees and the Hanukkah story. Again, out of bronze in really good condition. Broken on the end right here, a tiny bit where the shaft fit in, but other than that, it's just gorgeous. How do you say gorgeous in your head? But it's in amazing shape for its age. We also find a lot of arrowheads here from the Crusader period. The Crusaders were the second Christian group that was here. We have the Byzantine period in the 300s to the 600s. In the 1100s, we have the Crusader period. These arrowheads are made out of iron. And can some of you kids tell me what happens with iron when it gets wet?
Rust.
Right, exactly. It gets really rusty. It kind of starts falling apart. Well, that's what's happened to these, so they're not in really nice shape like the bronze one. But we can still tell they're arrowheads, and we know what time period they're from. Something really neat that we find here is a little clay seal called a bulla. In ancient times, you did not have an envelope to put a letter in or to store a document in. So you took your letter or your document, rolled it up, tied strings around it. On the knot of the string, you put a wad of clay, you stamped it with your name seal. This name seal is called a bulla. If you're an Egyptian, you would use a scarab with your name written in hieroglyphics. And yes, we have found Egyptian scarabs on the Temple Mount. We found this little stone with a gazelle on it. You could use that for your name seal. Most people here in Israel, though, used a seal that actually put their name onto the seal. This particular one, we can actually read it. That's what they put on our shirts. It says, Ga'aliyahu. The double line in the middle here means Ben, son of Immer. Aleph, Mem, Resh. So Ga'aliyahu, the son of Immer, was the one who stamped his name on the seal. And we actually know who this is. The Immer family was a family of Kohanim who served on the Temple Mount during the time of Jeremiah. And we know about this family. The family name shows up in Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 1. So we know that this was then something that was attached to a parcel of some kind on the Temple Mount that needed a Kohen seal of approval on it. One thing that we find a lot of around here are coins. We have over 600 coins that we have found here. The majority are made out of bronze. So if you see one on a tray, it's going to look sort of green, sort of round, sort of flat, really cruddy. Doesn't look like a coin, but it is. We also have silver coins. This one is a silver half shekel. Each year, each male of the family had to bring a half shekel to the temple as a temple tax for the family. And this is exactly the coin that they would bring. This is one of those that was made over 2,000 years ago to be brought to the temple as the temple tax. We also find Crusader coins. These are made out of silver. They're about 1,000 years old, but they're in very good condition. So if you find one on the tray and you wash it off, the first thing you will notice that on one side you will see a cross on it. What is written on the back side has something to do with who the king was, but you can always see that cross on it immediately, even though they're almost 1,000 years old. Occasionally we do find gold coins. We've only found about a dozen in the time that we've been here. We don't see too many of those. We'll go back chronologically here and show you some things from Second Temple period time. We'll go this way. Okay. We'll find hair combs. These are made out of bone. And we'll find there's like big teeth at one side, small teeth at the other side of it. We also find a lot of white stone dishes. Now there's a certain group of people on the Temple Mount who are using white stone dishes instead of the regular red clay dishes. Most of our dishes are made with this kind of red clay material, but we have some that are made with white stone. Can anybody figure out who might be using white stone dishes and why?
Climbing.
Exactly. And why would they use white stone instead of red clay? Anybody?
They have to remain pure.
Exactly. They need to remain pure, and they felt like stone dishes did not take on the impurity that the red clay would. So they would use white stone dishes. It's made out of chalk, which is what this ridge line is above us here. It's kind of hard to see through the curtain up here. This is a white chalk mountain that's right behind us. In fact, the factory where many of these were made is probably the factory that's right over on the backside of this hill. There's a cave that is over there that was used as a stone vessel manufacturing plant during King Herod's time. And these stone dishes, they found all different kind of pieces that were still in there in different stages of manufacture. So they were manufactured on the backside of this mountain, on the backside of the Mount of Olives. They were taken over to the Temple Mount, and now they're back here in fragments. But at least we have them, and we know that this is what they're commonly used on the Temple Mount. From the Second Temple period onward, we start finding lots of building materials. We'll find fresco. Fresco is plaster that was painted when it was wet. The pigment would sink right into the plaster, and so it would maintain its color even until today. Then we have a certain type of floor stone. It's called Opus Sectile. This is what happens to be what my specialty is. This opus means work, sectile is cut. They would take lovely stones and cut them into different geometric shapes, squares, rectangles, triangles. Herod is the one who imported this craft here to Israel. He used these in all of his palaces, and he used them on the Temple Mount. My job here in Israel is to put together all these different floors. So I actually work for about 10 different Herodian sites, and I work with the ones from here on the Temple Mount. And we've recently published a couple different articles to show what the Temple Mount floors might look like. So it's really a neat job to work with. Like putting together the Temple Mount floors. From the Roman and Byzantine periods, we start finding lots of marble. Now, marble is this sparkly rock that you're used to seeing, right? But there is no marble here in Israel. It all had to be imported. So you'll see, like over there, a big marble column, or marble column tops. This is part of an ionic column top with horns on it. All different kinds of things made out of marble, but each one of these needed to be imported here. Most of it came here from Turkey and Greece. They bring it to a ship, take it down to Jaffa Harbor. And at Jaffa, they'd have to put it on an ox cart and haul it up the hill. So it's quite expensive, quite an ordeal to bring this here. But all the marble that you see all around the city, all the ancient marbles, even modern marbles, all has to be imported here. From the Roman period, we found that this little goat head. It turns out that it's a handle to a pot. It must have been kind of neat. We can tell that by the way it's shaped on the backside, not a full goat head. When the Romans were here, when they were not at war, what did they like to do? Play games. So we find the dice and the game pieces that we use. Most of the game pieces are made out of bone, and they're going to be about this size. They're rather tiny. We found one here just a couple weeks ago, yeah, so they keep showing up. We've got several dozen of them. But they're marked just like we mark dice today. Or rather, we mark ours like theirs. The 1 is opposite the 6, 2 is opposite the 5, and the 3 is opposite 4, so the opposite sides add up to 7. Another thing that we have lots of around here are mosaic cubes. Now, mosaic cubes come in two different kinds. There's mosaic cubes that are made out of stone. You can see some of those over here. stone ones that come in different sizes, starting at small, medium, large. And then we have lots of ones that are made out of glass. Some of the glass ones are coated with gold. Now these mosaic stones that are made out of glass come to us from the Dome of the Rock and from Al-Aqsa Mosque, both on the inside of the building and the outside of the Dome of the Rock. When it was first built, these sections here that look very bluish today, those are covered over with beautiful pictures that were made out of little teeny tiny glass mosaic stones. But after 700 or 800 years, they started falling apart, and so they were replaced with the blue and white glaze tiles that you see today. Another category of finds we find a lot of is jewelry, rings, necklaces, bracelets, amulets. Have you ever lost an earring?
Yes.
Yes, okay, well, we may have it here for you. One of the things that we find are a lot of jewelry that's made out of glass. We have a lot of girls' glass bracelets that were quite popular from almost 2,000 years ago up until the modern times. We find lots of beads. Some of them are made out of ancient stones, semi-precious stones. This is carnelian. Other ones are made out of glass. This one here is made out of mother of pearl. Just so different kinds of material. Mother of pearl is the shiny insides of seashells, and we do find a lot of things that are made out of this here. Some of them, like pendants for necklaces or settings for rings, but we also find pieces that were cut into geometric shapes that were used on those walls along with these glass mosaics to make very, very beautiful walls. Then we find things that we call modern. So we have, here's military insignia. This is from the Australian Army Medical Corps from World War I. It says it's from 1917. We call it modern. It's only 99 years old. This is modern. And this is from the British Army Band Unit from around the year 1850. So we find a huge variety of things. The only problem is that our materials, even though they go back well over 3,000 years, they're all jumbled up together. At most archaeological sites, when you start digging, when you start from the top, the material is very new, and as you dig deeper, it gets older. Well, here, because of the bulldozing, everything is jumbled up together. So you may find within your bucket, you might find something that's only about 50 years old or 100 years old, or you might find something that's 3,000 years old in your same bucket. When we work here, we're going to be looking for things in 6 categories. The first category we're looking for is glass. This comes in 6 different languages. Choose one you can understand. Okay. The first category is glass. Glass may be a part of a glass vessel. It could be the edge of a Roman glass plate. Here's the edge. Here's the handle of a Roman glass pitcher. Here's part of a girl's glass bracelet right here. Here's part of a glass seal that actually had something written on it, someone's name written on it. The second category are mosaic stones. Mosaic stones, as I said, come in 2 kinds. We have stone mosaics, and then we have the ones that are made in glass. The glass is going to be very, very colorful. They're only about this big. They're kind of tiny. Reds, blue, yellow, green, purple, all different kind of colors. The thing you're going to find the most is going to be pieces of pottery. Remember, people not only ate from pottery dishes, but they didn't have cardboard boxes and plastic bags back then. So anything that needed to be stored or carried from one place to another was put into some kind of a clay pot. So it may be just kind of solid red. Other times it may have a glaze on the outside of it. Like this is from the Crusader period with these yellowish and greenish colors on it. Some of them may have decorations, like this one from the Mamluk period. It has decorations painted on it. The next category is bones. In the bones category, we have animal bones, not people bones. Right? The bones, about 85% of them are from kosher animals, sheep, cow, goat, like that. In this category, we also put seashells. So if you find a whole seashell, we'll put that in there. We find this kind of seashell here. It's like a little tiny conch shell. It's called a murex shell. Anybody know what this might have been used for? Why someone might have collected this? To hail it, right. Inside this animal, it's got a little sack that has this really bluish ink in it. And this bluish inky stuff is what was used to make the blue dye. It's used for tahalet. It was also used in the temple to use on the curtains that were there and for the priest's garments. Sometimes you'll find something that looks like this, sort of like a little flute. It's a tooth of a sheep or a goat. Those things go into this category also. Another category we call special stones. These are different kinds of building materials. So it may be pieces of limestone that have chisel marks on it. If you look at the seat that you're sitting on, you'll see that in order to make a round stone into a nice flat slab, you have to take a hammer and chisel and chisel it flat. And we can actually tell sometimes from the chisel marks roughly the time period in which the stone was crafted. We'll find here's white marble, here's some gray marble. We find a rock called bituminous chalk or bitumen. It's a black stone from down near Nebi Musa. And this is one of the stones that King Herod was using on his floor, so we'll find sheets of that in here too. You'll find some plaster, or the fresco, which is the plaster that we're cleaning when it was wet. Also, in this particular material we're working with right now, we're going to find a lot of flint. Flint is a very hard, glassy stone that was used for tools. You would use it for knives, arrowheads, drapers, things like this. Also, if you take 2 dry pieces of flint, smack it together, it can spark and you can start a fire with it. The last category is metal. Metal may be ancient nails or even modern ones. It may be little nails like this. Turns out these are nails that held horseshoes onto a horse. And these are from the Crusader period. Remember I said that room this room, the original name of it was Solomon's Stables? Well, the Crusaders were using it for their horses, and so we have found some of their horseshoes, but a lot of the horseshoes. So these are our 6 categories: glass, mosaic, pottery, bone, specialty stones, and metal. When we work on the other side of this curtain, the same pictures are over there again, so you can always look at it to refer to. Yeah, does anybody have any quick questions right now?
We're not going to find any jewelry?
You will find jewelry, you'll find, the most common thing you're going to find is going to be girls' glass bracelets. That's going to be the most common thing. There'll be sections of girls' glass bracelets. That's the most common jewelry that we find. If we do find things like silver and gold jewelry, it's usually rather modern, things that have been lost by someone. Okay, I'm going to open this curtain right here and show you a demonstration of how we do this thing. So just stay seated where you are.
You can't keep it in with them.
Instead of somebody that has jewelry there.
The problem with this curtain is the... Yeah, I've got it.
Oh. Everything's cold.
You guys will stay seated. I think you'll be able to see from where you are. What we do out in the backyard, we take buckets of dirt. Sit down. You can see. We take buckets of dry dirt and put it through a sifter like this one. All the dry dirt and powdery stuff falls through and it stays out in the backyard. All the rocks and pebbles that were on the top of it, we put into all these black buckets that are out here on the floor. We've added water to the bucket to help the material start to get clean. You can take a bucket, dump it on the tray. It's kind of a mucky mess, so the first thing you're going to do is take the garden hose. There's a garden hose hanging from the ceiling around here. Spray out the inside of your bucket. Once everything's out of there and the inside of the bucket is clean, you're going to take the material on your tray, spread it out, and give it a shower. Now I'll tilt this up in a second so you can see. Once you wash it off, you can say things, turn colors in here. Since you're looking for 6 categories, we give you a 6-pack muffin tin. Okay. One of the easiest things usually to see on your tray is going to be pottery. It's usually sort of red and flat. So here's some pottery here. Here's a nice piece of pottery because it's right up at the very top rim of a vessel. So our archaeologists who deal with pottery can actually tell you then what type of pot this is from, when it was made. It's a really neat thing. Okay. So here's some more pieces of pottery. Like I said, one of the things you're going to find in here is a lot of flint. Now flint is this kind of glassy stone, so you'll find pieces of that in here. I've got more pottery. Oh, I've got the base of a bowl. I can see, like on your cereal bowl, you've got a round circular base on it. Here that is right here. And I saw another one over here. Oh, this is neat. This is the top of a pot. And I'm going to take it over here for the kids to see the front because it's kind of neat. It's got little tiny prickly point designs in it. Can you guys see those little prickly point designs in there? Yeah. That tells me that this is from the early Islamic time period. Also because of the kind of greenish color. But you can see they're all kind of little prickly point designs that are on the. So even though I don't know a lot of pottery, I say